Hello guys, welcome. We are getting ready to look at lesson 110 in math today, and this one is all about measurement scales. So we're going to be looking at some terms and some comparisons of numbers and how we measure things. So we're going to look at three things in particular. We are going to look at an inch measurement, which I am sure you are all familiar with the inch. We use that on our rulers most frequently. It's a small measurement, so if you think about your ruler being 12 inches, your inch is the smallest one. We are also going to be talking about feet, which is up here as well. So that ruler that we were just talking about, we have 1 inch, and then we have 12 inches of those makes 1 foot. So hopefully you have heard that before, that 12 inches makes 1 foot. So then the next one we're going to be talking about today is a yard. So if you notice, each one of my words have been getting a little bit bigger. 1 inch on our ruler versus 12 inches that makes a foot. And then we're going to talk about a yard. So a yard would in fact be 3 feet. Okay, so those are the basics that we are working with today. 12 inches in a foot, 3 feet in 1 yard. So if I take a look at my measurement scales here, I've got 2 number lines, and we were just talking about a ruler. So hopefully you notice up here that these pictures that we have look very similar to a ruler, right? Just a bigger version. So I see the words that we were just talking about. I see yards here. I see feet. Okay, so this first one is showing us a comparison or a scale between yards and feet. So one number line, up top here are measurements in yards, 2 and 3, and at the bottom we see measurement in feet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 9, okay? So this bottom one here, now I see feet at the top, which looks like the same measurement, 1, 2, 3, all the way up till 9, and then at the bottom I see inches, okay? So if I were to count here, these aren't labeled, so I know it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way until I get to 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, all the way until I get to 24, just like a number line would be. But what I want you to notice about these two number lines or measurement scales is that there are some similarities in there. Do you notice that these numbers, these measurements in feet, 1, 2, 3, 4, they all line up, the 4 on top and the 4 on bottom, the 5 on top and the 5 on the bottom. If you want to take a closer look at this, this is actually a picture of page 24 in your workbook. So if you want to follow along with me and see this a little closer in front of you, feel free to take out that journal. Just make sure you're focused on what I'm focused on here and don't work ahead, okay? All right, so we're looking at how they're lining up. And so what this shows us is we just talked about some conversions. We said 3 feet was equal to 1 yard. So this measurement scale actually shows us that. If I look at the feet side, 1, 2, 3 feet, that line is the same as 1 yard. But, let's see if I have a different color up here. If I were to take that number or that line even further, and drop it all the way down into my lower number line, I notice then 1 yard is the same as 3 feet, and 3 feet is the same as 36 inches. So I know my conversions over here, but I can also see what that looks like on my number line. When I have 1 yard, that's the same as 3 feet. That 3 feet is the same as 36 inches. So we could say 1 yard is the same as 36 inches. It means the same thing, okay? I can also look at 1. We said a moment ago that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. Well, this is kind of like skip counting, isn't it? So if 1 foot is equal to 12 inches, then how many inches would be in 2 feet? I could count another 12. Or I could look at my measurement scale here and know that there are 24 inches in 2 feet. Sorry about that. So how about 2 yards? If we look at these number lines, these measurement scales, if I find 1, 2 yards, remember we got to look at the right side here, I could say 2 yards is the same as 6 feet. But how many inches would it be? if I kept going, 6 feet would be the same as 72 inches, okay? So looking at your conversions, you can tell how many inches are in a feet, or are in a foot, or multiple feet. You can see how many inches are in a yard. You can see how many feet are in the yard. There's all sorts of information that you can do with this. So what you're gonna practice doing is you're gonna practice some conversions. You're gonna practice using this number line to see how many feet are in inches. Okay, actually we'll keep this one up here because I want to show you there are 2 ways that you might like to do this. So I'm going to do the first couple with you, and again this is on page 24 in your math journal. You can look at it with me, just please don't work ahead. Okay, so there's 2 ways we can do this. We can use our number line to make our comparisons and see what number we have, or we can use our conversion. If we know for every 1 foot is 12 inches, it's just like your input-output charts. 1 foot, 12 inches in 1 foot, there are 12 inches. So this time we have 2 feet. So remember, we have 2 choices. We can figure out how many inches are in 2 feet by looking at our chart up here. 2 feet would be the same as 24 inches, okay? Or we can do it by conversion. If 1 foot is 12 inches, then 2 feet, we could say times 12, would be 24, 2 groups of 12. 12 plus 12 equals 24. You can look at the number line, or you can do a conversion. Either way will get you the correct answer. Okay, so now if we do it again with 3, we could look up here at our chart and see 3 feet is the same as 36 inches. Or we could keep counting by 12s. We could do another group of 12. 12 plus 12 was 24, plus another 12 would be 36. Okay. Now it skips. It doesn't just go straight in order. Now we're looking at times 5. So again, I can use my number line. I can come up to 5 and I could see that the line converts to 60 inches. Or I could use my conversion this way and think 5 times 12. Now you may not think that you can do 5 times 12 in your head, but I'm certain you can. So you can either keep counting by 12s this way, or you could think about it by decomposing your number or splitting it apart. Do you know what 10 times 5 is? 50. Do you know what 10 times 2 is? Oh, I'm sorry, 5 times 2, I misspoke. 5 times 2 is 10. And then if you put those 2 back together, you had 50, plus your 10 more would be 60. So if you followed what I did there, I misspoke, so I feel like I should say it again so that you follow it. I was splitting up 12 to make it easy for me to multiply in my head. I know that 10 plus 2 equals 12. So if I separate those, 10 and 2 are really easy numbers to multiply with. So 5 times the 10 would be 50, and then 5 times the 2 would be 10, and we can just put it back together, okay? Or we could use our chart up here, either way. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna do the same thing for the other parts of our number line. Now let's zoom out a little bit here so that we can see some more information. Clear this off the board really quickly. Okay. So now, number 2 is asking you to change from yard to feet. So we can use our number lines up here if you like that strategy. We can also use the conversion. Do you remember how many feet were in 1 yard? I hope so. 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. We already have that done. So 1 times 3 gives me 3. So now I'm going to do the same thing for 2. 2 times 3 gives me how many? 4 times 3 gives me how many, and so on, okay? Then down here, we're gonna change from feet to inches, which is just what we were doing here, the same thing we were doing. How many inches are in 1 foot? I hope you said 12, so that was our rule, is times 12, okay? Then our last one was yards to feet. How many feet are in a yard? I hope you said 3, we just did that one, so that one would be times 3. Okay, Your job is to go through and finish this page on your own. This is page 24 in your journal. Good luck.